Provided everybody has good, clean health, their blood sugars are good, their cholesterol, their blood pressures are good, everything's good. There is a place where taking what I call a diet break is very good, and to get a bolus of calories. Now that could be for a month, it could be for a couple of weeks. For me, sometimes it's 3 or 4 months, and why you're seeing the more muscle is because more calories gives you more energy, which makes you train harder, which builds and facilitates growth in the muscle, and you're more hydrated, and you're a lot happier, and you generally sleep better. So there's a lot of advantages of taking these diet breaks.
Hello everyone, Nick Skolnick here, co-host and producer of the Lynch podcast, and we have an episode today for you that's all about staying healthy, staying positive, staying happy around the holidays. This is a time that's stressful for a lot of people, whether you're traveling or people are coming to you, or there's a lot going on at work, or you have family members who stress you out a little bit and they're going to be coming over. So we wanted to just give people some strategies to eat healthy, to feel relaxed, to be calm, and to just live their best life around the holidays. Let's get right to it. All right, we're in the holiday season. It's all happening. We got our beautiful decorations that you've laid out for us. I really appreciate that.
Well, we'll have to thank Mrs. Lynch on that.
Okay. You mean you weren't like out shopping at Home Goods getting the tree
Nick,
earlier
actually,
today?
to be honest with you,
Yeah.
I placed those out.
Okay,
But that's hard to call from, in the house.
Oh,
so
years past. So you just kind of stole some holiday decorations. I see.
It's got to go back.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. For now.
But
for now we have it.
Thank you.
Looks very festive.
I'm
Very
in touch
festive.
with my feminine side.
But it seems like you're also in touch with a lot of food these days, because you're looking like jacked. I mean, are you like intentionally bulking up? I mean, I've just noticed this over the last few weeks. I leave for a week or two, I come back, and I feel like you're ready to just run through a wall every time I see you.
I'm a little tanked up. My wife is calling me Sherman.
Sherman
Tank.
The tank.
The tank.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that at the end of this video, Nick, because what are we talking about today? We're talking about healthy eating.
Staying healthy during the holidays, right? As it's getting cold.
But for some people, for some of our viewers, it's going to be important for them to actually maybe put some weight on, and that's what I'm currently doing. Now, the other thing people...
Intentionally.
Yes. And to be fair, though, I was coming off that virus that we talked about. Hey, if you haven't seen it, right, we did the E. coli and Campylobacter video on food viruses, so I'm coming off that. So I was a little underweight coming out of the hospital. So I was probably about 5 pounds, 6 pounds lighter than I'm normally, but I'm up to, in totality, 20 pounds.
So you're eating a lot, and but we'll get into that a little later. All right, but I think what I wanted to do with this video, I wanted to give people some strategies right around the holiday season to stay healthy and stay less stressed out than they might be otherwise. Because I think the holiday, the end of the year, it can just be really stressful, right? And so that can be from work, that can be from family, that can be because you have to have people over and you're stressed out about having them over, or you've got to get somewhere to go see family, or you've got to end out a lot of stuff at the office, or whatever's happening. It tends to be a stressful time of year.
All right, so where do you want to start?
The best place to start is just hydration. Because I notice, we're on the East Coast of the United States, right? And as soon as it gets cold out here, I just dry out. And I don't even know why, but I'm drinking the same amount of water I was for the last few months, and I'm just not able to stay as hydrated as I was. So I know for me, as it gets colder, as we get into the holidays, I'm reminded my lips are drying out. I look at my hands, they're cracking. So my hydration routine is greatly enhanced right around this time of year, and I try to hold it as long as I can, right? So I just wanted to make sure people remembered that staying hydrated is really important for your overall health.
A lot of times when people think they're hungry, and this is what some of this video is going to be about overeating, right? They're actually dehydrated. That dehydration and hunger can kind of mimic each other. So anytime and this is for all the time, not just the holidays, anytime that you think that you're hungry, hunger is pulsatory, so it'll come in waves, just bang a glass of water or two and see. And if you're still hungry, then you're hungry, you're not dehydrated. And at this time of the year, dehydration is a real thing.
I know this is a deep rabbit hole to jump down, but you can overhydrate too, right? So we have to be careful that we're not drinking too much water.
Yeah, so the easy thing for that, the barometer is look in the toilet. When you pee, if it's clear, then you're overhydrated. That's called hyponatremia, and you can run into electrolyte imbalances. Now, when it comes to the holidays, a lot of the foods are going to be high in sugar and salt, so that probably is mostly not going to happen to people. But yes, you can overdo anything. You could actually die with water. I think we talked about that in a video in the past. So you want to look at that toilet water, provided you're not taking B vitamins that make your urine look like Gatorade, like fluorescent yellow, but it should be a straw yellow. And as long as it's at that light yellow, then use some cream, and it's not a hydration problem at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But if you're dark yellow or there's a scent in your urine that doesn't smell like asparagus, because asparagus makes your urine smell like asparagus. But if it's got a strong pungent smell, or it's dark yellow or 14 karat gold like a chain, you're underhydrated and get some fluids in you.
Okay, all right. So you really got a little bit of a tightrope to walk there. You want to make sure you're not going under or over too far in one direction. Yeah,
and you can see too, like with elderly, with grandparents or whatever. Sometimes people, and it's not funny, it's something to joke about it. People pass out in holidays. They're in a nice sweater, they got the heat cranked up, they got the oven going, and they're dehydrated. And now you could ruin the holiday because you're in the ER for the night when all you needed is a bag of saline because you didn't drink enough fluid. So it's a very important thing, Nick.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Something to keep in mind.
So simple. Like people might say, "Oh, what are they
Well, and it's something that people have heard about a lot, right? I mean, I don't think we're breaking new ground here by telling people to drink a little bit of water, but you need to be reminded. That's the thing, because we've all heard all this stuff, and I'll still go through a day and drink 3 coffees and realize I haven't had a water all day, right? So hydration, really easy, but something we all know and we all forget. So I think that's really important. I think one of the other things that I know I have a problem with, and I'm really going to try to be better about this holiday season, is how fast I eat. Because I eat like I have 17 brothers and sisters all fighting for the same amount of food, and I'm an only child. I don't know why I eat so fast. Maybe because I just wanted to get past the meal and get back to doing whatever I was doing, but it is, and you can ask anyone who's eaten meals with me, it's comical how fast I eat. There are times where I will have my whole meal finished as someone else is just simply cutting the food and hasn't had a bite yet. Really? And I'm like, all right, what are we doing? And they're like, we're eating, but you're done because you eat like a lunatic, and we're all just going to have our meal at a normal pace. Yeah. And so what happens is I eat that fast, and then if I have a huge portion, I eat way too much.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. There's a real bad delay to the brain with satiety, reaching satisfaction. I'm full. Stretch receptors in the stomach. There's stretch receptors in the stomach that send a message to the brain, says, hey, Nick, stop. Back 20 minutes, 16 to 20 minutes. So that's why when you're rifling through that food like that, you can keep on going and going. And then what happens? You're like, oh, you got to unbutton the top of your pants, and if you may, getting sweaty and shit, you feel like you're gonna have a fucking heart attack.
I have to get up and walk around. Yeah, I'm like, all right, I gotta get out of here. And everyone's like, where are you going? I'm like, I gotta walk around.
Yeah. So what I tell people is when you're gonna go to a party where you don't know if there's gonna be food that you can have, someone like you and me, we're gluten-free, right? So if we go to a party where there's nothing that's gluten-free, there's something like shrimp or something like that, or some vegetable sticks. But I've been to events where there's literally nothing I can have there other than some vodka.
I also have, yeah.
So if you go and you eat a nice high protein meal with some vegetables, maybe some fruit or a big salad, maybe an hour or two beforehand, one, you're now loading yourself up with nutrition, so you go into that party already full. The food will drop down into your large intestine and you'll be ready to eat again, but you may only have half the amount of food. Where if you went there and you're dehydrated and you're starving, now that's where the real damage comes in. And also too, like I said, you're preventing yourself from going, now you might be at that party for 4, 5, 6 hours with no food at all.
So you're saying fill up your belly a little bit with some good protein, some veggies, something like that before you go to the party. That way, you're not showing up starving. You're not going to attack all the terrible apps that are at that party and gorge yourself right when you get there, which I've done, right? Show up to a party starving, and you're just looking for anything, and you overeat.
Because you won't eat as fast if you do that. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people, including myself, I don't eat healthy food super fast. It's only the garbagey food. Like I'm partially with you. Like if it's pasta or raviolis or pizza or tacos,
Right.
I eat them quick. My
Right.
wife is like, yo, slow down, Mike. But if I'm looking at a baked potato and a steak and broccoli, I eat it at a regular pace.
Right.
But if you go in full, that speed will, you won't nail it like that, or you probably won't.
Okay. Stress during the holidays is a big thing. And of course, drinking for some people is a de-stressor. But people should be looking for alternate ways to decompress, to de-stress, to get their brain, their mind into a better place so that they can be a better husband or wife, father or mother, friend, just even a better person to themselves, be less critical of themselves by being just a little less stressed in this time. And I don't know if you do this or not, but I do try to practice 10 minutes of quiet time for myself, whether that's in the morning or in the evening. And I mean that's no phones, no emails, no distractions, dim lighting, and really just focus on my breathing. Have you ever tried this?
So are you saying like meditate? Is it?
I don't want to call it meditation because as soon as you say meditation, people are going to say, I can't meditate, or I don't like that, or it doesn't work, or whatever it is. I'm just saying 10 minutes of quiet time.
Somebody had told me that I needed to meditate, and then somebody else told me I needed to meditate.
Likely we all need to meditate.
Yeah, and then the third person told me, so I was like, all right, something's onto this. So I downloaded this app, and I tried it a couple of times, and my head was just like, I'm too active, right? But I do I don't know if you consider this to be what you're talking about. Sometimes, because I have my own studio, when I'm done with my workout, and it's a very vigorous workout where I feel like I left it all on the gym floor, I feel like, whatever I'm dealing with, sometimes I'll go over and shut the light off, and I'll lay on the gym floor with my arms out, and I'll just kind of sit there and let my brain do nothing. Mm-hmm. But then a lot of thoughts come in, and they're generally really good thoughts at that point. And I start off with nothing, so I don't know if this is what you're talking about. You could probably educate people much better on this. But I probably only do it 2 or 3 times a year. I don't ever do it intentionally. It's usually after a kick-ass leg workout.
A lot of times after a yoga class, they'll have you do that. I mean,
Okay.
if you've ever been out for a yoga class,
No.
at the end of the class, they shut those lights down and they just let you lay there. And I'm forgetting what the name of it is. It's like Shavasana or something like that.
Okay.
And it's really just a moment of quiet time at the end to reflect on the workout that you've done or the stretching or whatever you want to call it for that yoga session. I would encourage you to try to incorporate that more into your workouts. I know if you've done heavy weights or if you've done something like that and your heart is racing and you're all pumped up, it's probably hard. That might be not the best time then to do it. But the thing is, nothing is going to happen, and you know this, nothing's going to happen the first time. Right. Nothing's going to happen the third time. Right. It takes consistency and dedication to get yourself into a place where you can work that into your everyday routine.
So what do you do in regards to what we're talking about? What do you advocate people do before they go to like the holiday?
So what I'm saying is start this practice now because you're going to need it in the holidays. Because it's going to help ground you. It's going to help calm you down. And like you said, at the very least, it gives you some time to reflect on what's happening. Now, ideally, you would kind of try to clear your mind. But even if it's a time where you're taking out all the other distractions and you're able to let some new ideas kind of flow through you, you might come up with an idea of something that's been problematic or troubling you for a long time, and it might just pop into your head out of nowhere because you finally quieted it all down.
Okay.
A lot of people right now, young kids, older adults, everybody, they're constantly filling their brain with a device.
Yep.
So any single moment that they have free, they go right to the device and they start clicking away. And I'm guilty as well. Like, this is not something that I'm perfect with. But we got to take these devices out of our lives all the time. We need some time to just let our brains cycle through and reflect on the day, either focus on our breathing or even just thinking about anything. Think about the last vacation you had. Think about something you're grateful for. Being grateful is not just for Thanksgiving. I'm sure we all have something that we can feel thankful for, whether it's a friend or a family member or a job that we like or anything. Try to think about something that you're grateful for in that moment of quiet time.
Yeah, I don't want to sound corny, but I do that every day actually.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's important, and honestly, it probably puts you in a better mood.
Yeah.
Because whatever we focus on is where our brain will sit and idle on.
Yep.
So if we only focus on the things that are not good with our lives, then that's constantly what we're like going over in our head. What's wrong? What could be better? What didn't I like about what just happened? And that is not the headspace that I want to be in. And I don't think that's a healthy headspace for people. Now, of course, we don't want to avoid the negative things in our life, but we don't want to ruminate on them constantly over and over and over again. It's simply not healthy.
Right. So let me ask you a question then. Have you ever had a time when you're going to go to a holiday, let's say, and you know that there's that asshole? Let's be honest. This holiday season is going to be tough for a lot of families because of the election, right? 50% of the country is very happy, the other is upset, and they're going to be in the same room. Do you think doing this meditation practice would arm you with the calm, for a lack of words, to maybe not have a blowout with somebody?
It certainly might.
Really?
It certainly might. It's worth a try.
Because I don't know if that, me personally, I'm such a hothead and I could be such an asshole at times. I don't know if I'll give it a shot.
I'll tell you this. If you are thinking about all the things you're grateful for before you go into a social situation like that, you're not going to walk in. Don't listen to a news program right before you walk into a family party, right? Don't get yourself all riled up about a war that's happening in some other country before you walk in there.
Right.
Try to get yourself into a headspace before you go to these parties where you're feeling calm, grateful, positive. It's something to try.
Yeah.
It can't hurt. And it costs no money.
Right.
And if it doesn't work, you're no worse off than you would have been either, you know?
Yeah. So, that, you know, the only problem with it is for me, my thing is, because as I've gotten older, Nick, I don't really give a shit what anybody thinks anyway. Do you know that person that just won't shut the F up? And so I don't know if meditation can help with that person, because there's times when I get around a holiday party or something, like I'm like, oh my God, would this person just please shut up?
Well, look, a lot of times that's their anxiety, right? Because when people feel anxious, they just start talking. So they need to watch this video, and they probably need the 10 minutes of quiet time and silence and reflection beforehand.
I never thought about that,
so
Nick.
that they can be less anxious.
Very smart, Nick. You're a very smart guy.
Something to think about. We're going to give people a lot of options, things that they can try.
Yep.
This is just one of them. It's not for everybody, but you might as well try it. Like I said, it costs no money. It's not going to make things worse for you. It may not work the very first time. I would recommend people try it for a couple weeks, 10 minutes a day. You spent 10 minutes on Instagram today, right?
Sure.
You spent way more than that probably on social media. A lot of people have.
Well, you tell me I have to post more, so I'm just following orders.
That's true. That's true. But I think a lot of people can take the time they spend on social media, cut it in half, and focus more on something for themselves. Right. And it'll make them feel less depressed and less anxious, I would think.
Cool.
The other thing, and this is something obviously that you're always telling people, we also have to remember to stay active during the holidays, right? If you're not, if it's getting cold out, it might be harder to get out there and do your walks and do your runs and do different things like that. If you don't have anywhere in your house that's easy to do exercise and you're not currently a member of a gym, these are very important times to stay active. Do you have any suggestions for people as it gets cold?
Yeah, I mean, look, most gyms, I mean, today, they have these big gyms. They're very inexpensive. But yeah, I mean, look, if you're living in a place where it's really cold, bundle up, man, and get out there. Or, they have these $10 a month gyms, and just, you got to get it done, because now if you stick those sugary meals and the desserts and the cheese and all that stuff and the booze, and you're just saying, oh, you know what, I don't have time right now. I got to shop. I got to do this with the kids. Man, you're going to be really pissed and really not feeling well in a couple of weeks from now. So you would be better off, Nick, with 45 less minutes of sleep, and just get it in. Just get it in. Put a freaking willpower gun to your head and just say, I gotta do this.
Right or wrong, some workouts, if you do them in the evening time, get you way too amped up and then you can't go to sleep, right?
For some people. I'm one of those people.
I'm one of those people as well.
Yeah.
If I work out at night, I can't just go home and go to sleep.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep in mind. And it can be hard to convince morning Nick that it's a good idea to wake up. Nighttime Nick knows I should wake up early. I'm going to set my alarm. Morning Nick loves to snooze. And he hates to work out. So, I mean, those are, that's something that you really have to work on. I know I have to work on that.
I'm going to let everybody in on something. Nick's got a nickname. that I gave him a couple of weeks ago. It's Nitro Nick, okay? I didn't know Nitro Nick even had a snooze button, okay?
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot of stuff about you today.
Listen, for work, Nitro Nick has no snooze button. For when it comes for like personal care, that snooze button is just...
Well, you're on different sets all the time, right? You just told me what you have to do in the next couple of days. In the morning, and then you're at another set on nighttime. So Nitro Nick has to pull it in and park it every once in a while. That's okay, Nick.
It's true. Mindfulness.
And Nick, I suggest 10 minutes of deep breathing.
Oh, that's a good idea. I should try that. I should try that. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for that. Thanks for that, Mike. That's good. Let's get back, because we're nearing the end of this journey. But let's take it back, because in the beginning you mentioned something that's a little counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Right? So it's getting cold. I'm always trying to watch my weight. I'm not trying to bulk up. I'm not trying to gain a little weight. Mm-hmm. But obviously, if you've been watching our videos for any length of time, you've noticed Mike has started to bulk up a little bit. But knowing you, I'm assuming you're not just getting fat from eating potato chips on the couch, right or wrong?
Yep.
So what's going on?
Yeah. This, Nick, is a perfect time, especially if you're in the cold weather, to reset the metabolism, because your body, if you're constantly on a diet and you're constantly in a deficit, a caloric deficit, and that could be through your mouth and through your activity. So let's say someone's baseline calories, we won't go too deep in this, and we should probably do another video on this down the road on resetting the metabolism. But let's say somebody's taken 3,000 calories and then they cut their calories down to 2,000 and they're exercising. That's a huge deficit. They lose weight, they get lean, all is good, but the body will start to down-regulate, okay? It will turn down the thermostat, let's say. The thyroids could slow down, the pituitary gland. Women can lose their period. Maybe they see a little extra hair in the sink when they're washing their hair. The extremities get cold, the hands and the toes and your nose, because these are the furthest things from your heart. These are all signs, constipation. Cranky, irritable, getting up and moving and feeling a little wonky for a second. Maybe the blood pressure is too low because the calories are just too low for too long. These people are exercising because that's the world we're living in right now, where everybody's like, eat less, move more, eat less, more, lean, 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 track this, do this, that. There's a lot of downside to that, especially hormonally. So if you're somebody that has the liberty and you're not in this beautiful climate where you're always in a bathing suit or bikini, the winter time, I believe, is a perfect time
to get fat. To just bulk the hell up, eat ice cream,
it's good
watch
for business,
movies,
Nick.
do no exercise.
You know what I'm saying?
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we get them
that
fat,
way
they watch our content, they come to me and train them. Yeah, but this is...
That's what I'm hearing.
Yes. Yeah, and a little bit of fat. You know, actually, I have what's the word? A formula. For every 5 pounds you put on, you want to make sure that only like 1 pound of that is fat, or 1.5 pounds, and the other part should be all muscle, right? Okay. So, provided somebody has, now this is very important, everybody, provided everybody has good, clean health, their blood sugars are good, their cholesterol, their blood pressures are good, everything's good, there is a place where taking what I call a diet break is very good, and to get a bolus of calories. Now that could be for a month, it could be for a couple of weeks. For me, sometimes it's 3 or 4 months where I actively try to teach my body to get as many calories as it can, and then you'll see this. No one just gets fat like this, right? Just like no one just loses weight like that. There's a cutoff, right? So, or a flattening out. So let's say I'm taking 3,000 calories and I go up to 4,500 calories. I'll put on weight and then I'll just level off. And then over time, what happens is sometimes the body weight can start to recede back down at that same amount of calories, because I'm teaching my body to eat a bolus of calories every single day. And why you're seeing the more muscle is because more calories gives you more energy, which makes you train harder, which builds and facilitates growth in the muscle. And you're more hydrated, and you're a lot happier, and you generally sleep better. So there's a lot of advantages of taking these diet breaks. I take it at this time of the year because
So this is something you do every year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All my blood markers are good. I check beforehand. I check my blood pressure and stuff like that. And my wife's a phenomenal cook. I love to eat, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video. And no one's going to see my shirt off. I don't need to have a ripped 6-pack abs. I'm not fat, but I'm definitely a much happier person, by the way, when I'm well fed. You know, I'm a hungry guy. I like to eat a lot of food.
Okay.
And my training is much better.
You have more energy to train.
My recovery is better. I could train more frequently. My hormones are definitely higher for certain. So, you know, when you're a natural athlete or somebody who's athletic, and especially the older you get, your hormones are really dependent on the calories that you get in. And there's no deficiencies in my diet right now. I am eating plenty of carbohydrates, plenty of proteins, and plenty of fats. So I'm a happy boy right now. So,
okay.
'Tis the season. I wish it was the holiday season all the time, Nick.
Yeah, that's nice. Just keep bulking up.
Yeah.
Just keep bulking up.
Yeah, but this is and again, I'm coming off.
And so how long will you do this for?
I'll probably do it until about February.
And then you start to
pull
it back a little bit so that by April or May you're back
at
your fighting
very
weight.
slow, because you don't want to go from here back down, because then you're defeating the purpose.
Right.
Because then you're just crash dieting. That's unhealthy, yo-yoing.
Right.
Again, 5 or 6.
Slowly ramp it up, slowly ramp it back down, and
Yes.
that way by April or May you're back at your fighting weight and you're good.
Also, last two things, we could do tons of videos on this. There's two hormones in your body called leptin and ghrelin. And when you diet for a long period of time, these hormones get screwy. And that's why people, when they diet for a long period of time, they're starving all the time. They're always hungry. They're always obsessing about food. So I'm at the point now, Nick, I'm like force feeding myself.
You're not even hungry. You're just
I'm not
I
hungry
need these
because
calories.
I'm trying to bulk up. I have a body weight in mind, and then I usually have a goal, just like a weight loss goal. I have a body gain goal, and I'm pretty close to it. And then I'll put the brakes on, hover there as long as I can, and hopefully I start to see the weight come off at that same cal. Then I know my metabolism is really humming along, and I choose to do it around the holidays. It just goes well, especially with living in New York.
Okay, 2 more quick things at the end, and then I want to wrap this up.
Yep.
Any vitamins people should be, I hear a lot about multivitamins, but, people are probably a little less, they're getting a little less vitamin D if there's less sunlight out there. So probably, talk to your doctor, but vitamin D is something that people can really benefit from. Maybe even vitamin C.
Yes.
Right, as they're leaving these summer months, not a lot of fresh fruits going around as much anymore. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, so you're right, they should check with their doctor, but definitely vitamin D3, usual recommendations are 2,000 to 3,000 IUs or units. Vitamin C can't hurt, and it's water soluble, whatever you don't use, or just pee out.
Okay.
I'm really not into this stuff, but I know like people will take echinacea, rhodiola.
What about zinc?
Zinc is good. Zinc is good. You just got to make sure that when you take zinc, you don't take too much, because if you take too much zinc, Nick, it can actually deplete your copper levels. But if you're taking a multivitamin, make sure it's got copper in it, or you're just eating foods with copper in it.
So yes, vitamins, big part of staying healthy, probably all year round, but certainly, in the winter months.
Yeah.
What about probiotics? Do you have a stance on probiotics and like specifically kombucha? I don't know. I know there's they use a lot of sugars to make kombucha, so it's like adding maybe a sugary drink to your diet, but it could improve gut health. Is this something that you've done any kind of deep dive into?
Yeah, so I haven't done a lot, but I do take a probiotic because I was ill a couple of months ago and I had a ton of antibiotic, which wipes out all the good guys along with the bad guys.
Yeah, you got to build up that gut health.
So I did take a probiotic. I'm still taking it, but to be quite honest with you, I only take it kind of when I feel like I need it. Mm-hmm. You could also get probiotics from, like you said, kombucha, I can never pronounce that right, or yogurt and kefir. Mm-hmm. So these things have natural probiotics. You also have prebiotics, so anything fermented. So, fermented cabbage, kimchi,
sauerkraut.
And even certain vegetables have, like asparagus has a prebiotic in it. So all those things are just going to add up, and you populate your intestines with a good bacteria.
But watch out for the sugary drinks that are doing the same thing, I would guess.
Yes, because here's the problem: the bad guys like sugar and they thrive on that. So you're taking in these probiotics, right? But if you're feeding the bad guys with tons of crap sugar, then really, what are you doing at that point? Yeah. I think it's nothing's really kind of happening.
All right. Anything else to add before we finish it up for the day?
No, I think we hit a lot of ground. You know, we talked about the hydration. We talked about keeping calm with the 10 minutes that I'm going to try, and making sure they're moving their ass. Oh, the other thing too, like for baking, right? My wife had told me about this. Like things like, she said to me, you know, babe, a lot of people don't. My wife is a phenomenal baker. Okay, she says you can take half the sugar.
Someone just told me this.
All those things, and it tastes better. It's too sugary, and you
because
know that.
You're tasting the actual ingredients.
Yes.
A lot of times when you put all the sugar in that they recommend, that's all you taste.
Yep.
Right? I know specifically my mother-in-law makes an amazing sweet potato dish for Thanksgiving and sometimes for the Christmas holiday as well. And she always puts in half the recommended sugar, and it's the best thing on the table. I mean, it really is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And she's intentionally cutting all that in half, and it's still just as good, if not better.
Right. And there's a thing called Truvia. And so it's like stevia and, Truvia is 50-50. It's 50% sugar and 50% stevia.
Okay.
So that's another way where somebody can, now you say, oh, what's that going to do? It's going to do because it's the drink and then this and the second piece of pie, whatever it is.
Right.
And it all adds up. And in fact, maybe we should think about maybe eventually doing some cooking segments, with the guidance of my wife, because she can make the most healthiest thing taste like it's bad for you. She's really good at it.
That's great.
God bless the Italians.
Yeah.
So, something to think about.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Have an amazing holiday, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah. So, happy holidays, and we'll see you the next time. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you don't miss any videos in the future.